What's going on, guys? Joe here with Odyssey Off-Road. So, as you've seen from the title, Jeep was in the shop. And I'm going to apologize in advance for my voice. I got sick last week. I'm just getting over like a chest thing. And so, my voice is pretty shot. So, we're just picking up the Jeep here from the dealership. And I have right now 8,600 miles on the Jeep. At about the 6,000 mile mark, I noticed I had pulled it out of the garage. I was doing like a deep cleaning of the garage that day, and I pulled the Jeep out. It was sitting out in the driveway, and I was cleaning the floor, and I noticed a spot of oil. So I was like, oh, that was weird. So I got under the Jeep and looked, and sure enough, there was oil dripping from the bottom of the motor. Now, there's a couple of known leaks that are pretty common with the Jeeps. One of them being the rear main seal. So that was right away a concern that it could possibly be the rear main seal, because not that it's a terribly hard job. They do have to take the transmission out to replace the rear main seal. But my concern was that job has been known to, not go well and have to be done 2 or 3 times. Because if you don't put the way the rear main seal is constructed on these motors and the way they're put in, if you don't do it perfectly and set it right, it's going to leak again. It's going to have to, and then we're going to have to do it another attempt. So that's obviously worst case scenario. But still, these things go through your mind. You're like, about it. Hopefully that's not the situation with this one. Yada, yada, yada. So, talking to a buddy of mine, and he had his Jeep in service for an oil change, and he was talking to his service advisor and was telling him about the issue I had with the oil leak. So that service advisor advised my friend to let me know that it's possible that it could be just the upper oil pan, because they've seen a lot of issues where, when the motors are assembled, a robot lays down a bead of RTV silicone, right? And then in the back corner, it'll leave a little gap, and the oil starts trickling out when the truck's sitting, and the oil is all sitting in the pan, and it'll start seeping out. So when I was looking at it underneath, you'd have the 2 rubber plugs, and I'm going to get under the truck. I'm not going to sit here and have you look at me, but I'll show you what we were dealing with. I got some pictures of the oil and how dripping out of the motor and how it looked. There's 2 rubber plugs under your motor in the bell housing. You guys probably seen those. And typically when you have a rear main seal leak, you'll see some oil coming out of both of those plugs, because the rear main seal is center in the back of the motor, and it'll run down and it'll start coming out of those plugs. Well, mine, it was a little seepage to the right side only, and there was some oil coming out of the right side plug only. So that told me that there was something going on more to the right rear corner of the motor, and it wasn't probably not the rear main seal. So when I took it into the dealer, told them what I was seeing, kind of left it up to them to do the diagnosis, but I did say, hey, don't just assume what you think it may be. Let's pinpoint the oil leak first before we just go fixing a leak that, you go replace a rear main seal and that wasn't the leak, and then you get it home and it's still leaking, and now you have a rear main seal job done that wasn't necessary. So I didn't want that to happen either, because some dealerships, thankfully it wasn't the case with this place. They did a great job, I think. But some dealerships will just assume, tech, they're rushing, they got a million jobs backed up, and they just get it in. Oh yeah, it looks like it's come from here. Throw some parts at it and fix it and hope for the best. So I dropped it off. It is Thursday right now. I dropped it off first thing Monday morning. They looked at it Monday. They thought they were pretty confident it was an upper oil pan leak, but what they did was they then put dye in it. They let it sit overnight. Took it for a test drive and checked. When you put the dye in it, they'll put a dye in your oil. The way that works, if anybody's ever had that done, they'll put a dye in your oil, and then they use an ultraviolet light and they shine it on to see exactly where the oil is coming out of. So if you have like a lot of oil messy all over the place and it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from, they'll use a dye. Put that in your motor, run it, see where it's coming out of, like the fresh leak, and then with the dye. So they did, instead they did that, they said they did that, and verified that yes, it indeed was the upper oil pan in the back corner leaking. So they removed dropped the upper oil pan, cleaned it up, re-RTV siliconed it, reinstalled it, put fresh oil in it, sat overnight. Next morning it was good. So give me a call, told me it was ready. I came, picked it up. We'll get out of the truck here. I'll show you a spot of oil in the garage. I clean it every week, wipe it out so it doesn't build up. But you'll see the spot of oil that's there in my garage right now. It's about a week's worth of oil dripping. So when the truck was sitting, it was dripping out the oil. And then I'll show you some pictures here. I'll pop up on the screen what the bottom of the motor looked like, and what I noticed leaking prior to me taking it in. So, hey guys, so you'll see before I wipe it up, I wanted to show you. That's about a week's worth of oil. The Jeep was just sitting the week prior to bringing it to the dealer. I was in Oklahoma, and the truck wasn't being used, so it was sat in the garage. And for the time it sat here, I wiped it up prior to that. That's about a week's worth of oil. So oil can look like a lot, you know, just a couple drips. The motor didn't seem to be losing oil over the couple of months that I noticed it leaking. And, you know, when I would check the oil periodically, it was always full. So it was just a very small drip coming out. And then, you know how oil is, it kind of spreads. So, yeah, so wipe that up, park the Jeep in here, and then hopefully no more drips. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I throw some photos up here on the screen of what the oil looked like, the oil leak looked like when I discovered it under the truck, and you know what it proceeded to stay looking like until I got it fixed here. So we'll keep an eye on it moving forward, but I actually let it sit overnight. So this part of the video is the day after, and all seems to be good. So I think we're in the clear. And that's just it, man. I just want to inform you guys, if you're seeing some oil dripping out of the back there, I know the common thing is everybody assumes rear main seal, because that is something that does happen on these motors. But not necessarily the case. If it seems like it's coming out more on one side, there's a good chance it's the upper oil pan gasket. So that's it, guys. She's all fixed up. Nothing major. Doesn't give me any concerns about longevity of the vehicle. A minor oil leak. It's an inconvenience, yeah, but it was fixed rather easily. It's nothing mechanical, nothing crazy. So that's it, guys. Smash that thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Sorry about the voice again on this video. Hopefully I'll be healed up for the next one. And we'll catch you guys later.